Hey, it's Footy Prime, and if we were allowed to use the rights to music, that song "Innocence" would be blaring.
Oh my
JC?
God!
Innocence.
Harlequin.
That's Harlequin. Is that who it was?
Yeah,
must be a one-hit wonder.
One-hit wonder. I think
Wow.
Canadian one-hit wonder even more.
Wow.
But if anybody wants to look up in North America, look up Harlequin and Innocence.
Yes. Anyway, it all relates to Jesse Marsch and Canada soccer. As you saw late last night, it was divulged by Concacaf that Jesse Marsch would not face any sanction for this whole nonsense regarding sitting in the wrong place, freaking out, whatever it was during the first match of the Gold Cup. Canada has, though, been fined for a couple of minor indiscretions. It's all kind of seeping out now. We put a tweet out earlier this morning. So the fine will be minimal for Canada soccer. There was apparently irrefutable video evidence that was used to present the defense. I believe a GoPro was involved in that video and audio, so they couldn't even fight it. A CONCACAF official misinformed, I guess, the disciplinary committee ahead of the original allegation. A lot of confusion there. What was Jesse Marsch upset? Yes. Did he go too far? No. And there seems to be some growing frustration that Canada is being targeted and are being used as an example. That's what Footy Prime has learned. All I said before, it's the storm in a teacup. Jimmy, isn't it? Really? When it comes down to it?
Yeah. It's actually quite funny, isn't it? I would love to see the guy that was the one from CONCACAF that went and claimed all these allegations. I would love to speak to him now. Just be like, are you sure? Like, what were you thinking? Especially
he might be available to talk to. He might be available. He might be looking for a job.
Oh, he has to be now, doesn't he? He has to be. You'd think he'd be getting fired to do that. It's crazy. But I'm glad Jesse and Canada Soccer dealt with it properly. I mean, obviously they knew exactly what was going on. And they proved their case and walked away winners. Winner, winner, chicken dinners.
Do it. Do your lotto 649.
Yeah.
I don't want to trivialize all this, but the use of the GoPro and then this CONCACAF representative, trying to throw all this shade on Canada, which I think has been happening anyway, but like targets Jesse Marsch. Like, does he not see the GoPro? Like, it's not like this is a discreet little camera, that's somewhere, right? And
you're Wonga, can we? Because Wonga often hides cameras.
It was literally mounted. It was mounted on his forehead.
Jesse had it on his forehead.
That's what I'm picturing. And you're still going to try to conjure and make up this story to make somebody look bad and to maybe save face for yourself. What I also would like to see, and this doubling down on this, further trivializing all of this stuff, because we can laugh at it now because Canada's in the clear. But I would love this CONCACAF representative to have to go up on the dais, sort of post, this disciplinary committee sentence has kind of been handed down, and he has to answer questions from all the media and ask him about it. Like, what were you thinking exactly? What direction when did you choose to go in this direction, and then double down on it? Like, it's very, very strange to me and unprofessional, and further gives credence to the claims that Jesse Marsch has made about Canada getting unjust and unfair treatment.
Yeah, you're bang on, Dubs. I would just love to be in the room when they said, "Oh, is that right, sir? Jesse, can you push play? And then just hear everything, see everything."
It's like Law and Order.
His jaw must have dropped.
The swagger and all the confidence and arrogance kind of just drains from the face. Oh, you've actually got evidence here. That's not good. I mean, listen, Craig, I'm the first to throw shade at you guys having massive chips on your shoulders as former players, as former members of Canada Soccer, with this constant whining, guys, about CONCACAF and how they're out to get you and how they were on the pitch and they still are. Well, Craig, there seems to be some frustration within Canada Soccer. That is very much the case, which I don't think surprises you.
That they're being targeted? Yeah, nothing new there. Used to be a hell of a lot worse because they would do whatever they could not to have us in these tournaments.
But who's targeting? That's the question. If that allegation is true, if there is that frustration and it comes from somewhere, who's I don't get it. Who is? It's not the president. He's Canadian.
Yeah, I mean, he's completely separated from this committee for sure. But it doesn't hurt having a Canadian as a president, generally speaking. But some things are hard to change, and I think with CONCACAF, you see this a lot, and you get people that they get a little bit of power and they push you away. I mean, I remember even just going down a pitch to do news hits or something like that after I was playing, and being pushed around. Oh, you can't stand here. You can stand here. You need a bib on. I need a bib on. So I've got this bib on with my suit on, and it's like, oh, turn around. It's like, yeah, you got to leave it on. You can't take it off. I'm trying to do a news hit. Like, so you end up arguing about that, Going back years when we had that one-off game against Mexico to qualify for 94, only one team went automatically into there. And we, at Varsity Stadium, wanted the pitch narrowed and as narrow as we possibly could to close the Mexicans in, perfectly within the laws of the game. We show up for the game and it's actually wider. It couldn't have been wider if they tried, unless they moved onto the track at Varsity. They were right up to the wood of the edge of the track. That's in Canada in a massive game we had, and they brought in a German referee for some reason. It's very, very strange.
I don't know, Dubs. I mean, this narrative that's kind of being built here, and we're part of it, kind of think it's a good thing. It adds attitude to us as a nation that we're not going to be pushed around anymore. And that maybe we're the bad boys of CONCACAF.
Have you ever been a bad boy of anything, Sharms?
I'm wearing a baseball hat with a flat brim. So yeah, I'm a bad boy.
Oh yeah.
Right, JC?
You're badass, Sharms.
No, I haven't been, but I'm not part of this. I'm just reporting on this.
Right. Okay.
I'm not a bad boy.
I don't know. I think that we need to shed all these chip on our shoulder. We're being hard done by narratives. I think it's great, and I'm relieved, frankly, that they had evidence, because clearly somebody's out to get Canada, and that might, somebody might be like, well, that's paranoid. It's not true. But with the track record and things that Forrest is alluding to, things that I experience as well, like you just go into these tournaments and you're worried about getting a fair shake. So we have evidence now. Hopefully this shines a light on it to say, like, can we expose this? I don't know if corruption is the right word, but this malfeasance or, a way of operating that isn't above board, that we can be a little bit transparent, a way that we're doing things and everybody gets equal opportunity in these competitions. I think that's the best, outcome that you can hope for. But in the way it applies to Canada and how we're treated, you just move forward from this and you control what you can control. But I mean, I can understand Jesse Marsch, and I mentioned this on the dark web. We talked about him being prickly and going after that English media guy. Like, no wonder he was fucking prickly, right? Like, can you imagine what what he must have been feeling then? You want to represent your country. You don't want to make it about yourself, which he was. I mean, I've read a lot of comments to say, like, he's become a bit of a sideshow and he's distracting from, the task on the pitch. And, that is something that you could say, I suppose, if you're looking at it and you don't have all of the information. But I just can't imagine how difficult it must have been for him to maintain kind of a professional and measured disposition in front of that media, even if they were, I think that guy got unfairly treated by him. But I can't imagine what he was feeling at that moment. So I'm glad that they're cleared. They can go through and they can just focus on the on pitch, which is really all that you want when you're a coach and when you're those players in the competition. You just want to play. So hopefully now they can do that.
Just don't blame
and we're also getting the one side that, because this is news for Canada, but the committee's constantly on people and charging clubs and countries all the time. They're dealing with stuff all the time. We're just hearing what's going on with Canada. But the fines are substantial because there's a maximum fine. They can't fine them any more than $15,000.
And then we should.
I was gonna.
A lot. Let's be
I was gonna.
honest. If that's the figure,
Yeah,
that's not a lot.
I'm just thinking for on a CONCACAF, looking at Victor Montagliani's organization at CONCACAF. This is supposed to be a trial run for the World Cup a little bit, right? Of going through different parts of organization and administration. This might be a good thing. It might be a good thing to realize that there are people who have different approaches to business, professionalization across the board within your organization. And once again, if the information we find out is that this person kind of made this up or kind of leaned into the drama of it all when it wasn't or didn't need to be, and they were actually escalating, then this is not someone that you want within your organization. This is a learning experience. And to build on what Dub said, it shines a light on perhaps what could be malfeasance in the future. So it's quite interesting to me the way Canada responded to it. They are, what did we say? They're going to be fined about $15,000, we think, something like that.
Yeah.
And for, and I don't even know, Dubs threw it out. It said it in the report, something about withholding a halftime drug opportunity. Is that it?
Yeah, no. So that
the access.
What we've learned there was the allegation originally what came out was that Canada sent the wrong player, which isn't the case. As far as we understand, what we understand is the way it works at the Gold Cup compared to the Copa America is that there's a halftime, a name is put in an envelope as to which player will be tested, and you had to have a Canadian, or sorry, at the Copa America, you didn't need to have a representative present for that. Canada thought that was the rules in place for the Gold Cup, so they didn't have anyone in place for that event, and that was the issue. It wasn't sending the wrong player. From what we understand, that wasn't the case. And again, that was the allegation. That's very different to the initial allegation, right? Very, very different indeed. So, I mean, is this, Jimmy, do you think this is, if Canada's been targeted, is it Canada or is it Jesse Marsch, given what he's said in the last number of months to really kind of stir the CONCACAF pot?
I think it's a little bit of both, isn't it? I mean, it is Canada. Like I always said, there's always seems to be a target on the Canadians' backs. And then obviously Jesse, because he was very vocal. He spoke his mind. He said what he had to about CONCACAF, and it's kind of like they're coming back at him, but they're definitely going about it the wrong way, and they're getting found out.
Yeah, I think it was more of an attack on Jesse than it was Canada.
So does he need to change? Do you think? Does he need to? I understand it's hard for a guy like Jesse Marsch, uber confident, very proud of what he does, his profession, very proud of being Canada's coach. Doesn't like to be pushed around. We know that. Going back to his Leeds days, he's not one to just sit back and take it. Does he need to kind of sit back and take it a little bit and maybe just take a breath moving forward? Because we've got a World Cup hosted by CONCACAF next year.
No.
Right? No? All right.
He doesn't. What's he done wrong? It's done nothing wrong.
Even his original suspension, during Copa, I mean, he was just backing his team.
Exactly.
That's no problem.
Does that feed into the room? Tell me, ex-players, Dubs, does that, when you see a coach doing this type of stuff, I'm not saying you've got an example, anecdote from your career, but do you think it does kind of bleed into the team and like, yeah, our coach, he doesn't give a shit. We are Canada. Does that make a difference?
Yeah, it's part of it, and Jesse knows that. But like he's done the kind of performative aspect, standing up for his players already at Nations League. So to your question, does he need to pick his spots maybe a little bit more, not change his behavior, or change who he is, because he's not going to do that. But maybe you don't do that again, because I don't think you need to. You've already done it there, right? I mean, you speak up when you feel like you're being wronged or something not going your way, but not to that extent, right? But I think he's a guy who understands how things work. He's obviously super intelligent, and he understands how to motivate his group. right? But so I think it's difficult for him to stay silent when he sees something, he's identified something that is unfair and something is not going according to plan in the way that he's been told things should go. There's certain, there's a schedule, there's a way of doing things. He's been around for a while, he's experienced. And when something deviates, when people have agendas, which is what that person at CONCACAF had in that box, you sense that, you know that as a person, as a human, but you also know it was somebody who's seasoned, who has experience in the Premier League, in MLS, now he's new to international football, but now he's getting to know what CONCACAF can be like sometimes, right? And the underbelly, the unsavory underbelly that can be CONCACAF sometimes. So maybe to pick his spots, not change who he is or his reactions, but maybe pick his spots maybe a little bit better in the future.
To play devil's advocate a little bit, I mean, they were fined as well for drone use during Copa. This incident with the doping, whatever, we don't know the inside information on exactly what happened there, as well as trying to get somebody on the field and the coaching staff without credentials. They have been serial offenders in some ways outside of Jesse, right? So they're being watched closely, and it's not all on CONCACAF, I don't think.
As it pertains, sorry, Sharms.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, dealing with CONCACAF, with the doping, like the name in the envelope at halftime, like I'm not sure if that's the way it worked when I played, but we had Charmaine Hooper on our team for a long time, right? And if anybody remembers Charmaine, how dominant she was on the pitch, she was a physical specimen. She was really muscled. She was imposing. She was cut out of glass. And so it was, every time there was drug testing, oh, look who it is. It's Charmaine. Like, really? How did that happen? Yes, this random drug testing. Yeah. Interesting. And so the halftime thing was a bit curious to me, and maybe that's always how it's worked. But like, I remember sitting in post-game environments, whether it was at the World Cup, whether it was at CONCACAF qualifying, these other tournaments. We had iterations of Gold Cups that weren't really competitive back in the day, that were governed by CONCACAF, and being selected myself as somebody who understood, and I'd been involved in hundreds and hundreds of drug tests because of the NCAA, the conference, my school, CCS, how rigorous Canadian athletes and like the governing body is to make sure that you're playing fair. And we adhered to that, right? But it was just, I got how to do it. But sometimes when you're sitting there post-game, you're dehydrated, you've just lost the game. I remember I got pulled into drug testing after we got eliminated. We tied Australia the end of the group stage in 2007, and the tie meant that we did not go through to knockouts. It was devastating. And I was sitting there, and I had to sit there for about 2 hours because I was dehydrated and I could not produce any urine in a cup. So like it's the unfun part that you don't hear about all the time. So I don't you're saying, Sharms, that they thought it was operating one way, it was actually operating another. Nobody's seeking to circumvent the rules in that situation. It's shitty, but you've done it so many times, and it's somebody just has to do it. But it's not always as random as you might think it is.
Charmaine's brother, Lyndon Hooper, I remember we were in Morocco playing in the Francophone games, and he got pulled at the end of the game. And we were so far away from Casablanca that we had to wait for him. And it was 3 hours. It was hotter than hell. And it was 3 hours. He couldn't pee. Like, we were literally throwing everything in his mouth. Come on, Lyndon. We get you to pee. Come on, man.
I've heard those stories before from various sports where someone wins a gold medal or you win a championship, and you can't celebrate with your teammates right there and then because you got to go to the goddamn room and have some guy watch you try and piss, and it can take us hours, right, Jimmy? And I understand the importance of drug testing, 100%. It has to be done, sadly, in this modern age of ours. But we shouldn't forget the innocent people who miss out on something in those big events.
You'd rather do it at the beginning of the game where everybody's peeing for fun.
Why don't they? Is there a reason why that isn't the case? That makes way more sense.
Hey, where are you and Jimmy going? Oh, Wagger and I are going to go pee for fun.
But But like it got to the point where whether they showed up at my house or it was in a locker room at a college game or an international game, that you got picked and you were just kind of shrugged and you walked in. And for women, we just tucked our shirt up into our sports bra, pulled our shorts down to our cleats, and then just walked into the stall, kept the door open, and pissed in that cup. And it's just like, okay, here we go again.
They're watching you as well.
Zero dignity.
Yeah,
Zero.
They watch you. I had a good conversation with a couple of them. Just standing there with it in their hand, and I'm.
Jimmy, did you say so? So, what do you think?
Yeah.
Of the sample?
Yeah. I was like, here, you hold this, and I'll hold the cup.
I had a pretty good cribbage game with two women who came to my house here, because you could be like picked wherever, right? Like that was the whole point of it, is that whether you were at training, game, whatever it was, or at your house, or wherever you were training when you were at home away from the team, they could just show up. And these two like 60-year-old women showed up to our house out in St. Hilaire, and I had just gone to the bathroom. I was like, oh, well, you guys want to come in? And like played cribbage with me and JP and my brother for like 90 minutes while I drank some water and tried to produce a urine sample.
They also got in Scotland, had a knock on his door, and it was actually representatives from Sport Canada, and he was in St. Johnson.
Wow, really? Yeah. They went all that way to the glamorous world of Scotland. But they're happy about that.
And Saint Hilaire in Quebec.
That's right.
No, but that'd be a pretty good job, though. You get to travel the world.
Yeah.
Right? Just have to deal with a lot of urine. Pardon me, Jim?
Willie chasers.
You smell like pee all the time.
Yeah. You're going to see a lot of cocks. A lot. Jeez.
Who do you smell like today? Oh, it's Amy Walsh and she had asparagus.
Wow, one day there should be a memoir of like a woolly chaser. Yeah. And just like their stories from around the world, around the globe. Have a ranking by country. Who is the best cocks?
Cocks, biggest volume of pee.
Yeah,
he
that
couldn't
as well.
Stop. He couldn't stop. She had a big minge. It was
The cup just disappeared.
It disappeared in the minge.
Can we have the cup back, please?
Please get me a mug.
Sorry, what cup?
Thank you for listening to Footy Prime, everyone. We know.
There'll be a lot of podcasts talking about this today.
Oh, you won't get that.
None of them will be talking about that take. I'll tell you that much. They're playing El Salvador tonight. They don't even know the venue yet for the quarterfinals. I think Mexico know. Canada doesn't know where they're going to yet. That doesn't sound very well organized.
No,
wouldn't you know by this point? Yeah.
Or it would be like one of two venues, but they at least would be identified, right?
Yeah, right.
They know that, don't they?
No,
they don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. They have a couple of. I'm sure there's a couple of possibilities, but they don't know where they're going just yet, which seems. God, what would we do without Concacaf? You see, I think Canada needs Concacaf more than I think they do. Yeah.
As a foil?
As a foil, I think from the Canadian soccer culture as a whole, as we grow into a soccer nation, we need something to aim our daggers at. The States, okay, yeah, they're there, on the pitch, but England has Germany, Brazil's got Argentina, we got Concacaf. We got a whole confederation to whine about.
It is much more fight the power, right? Though, because if we are just leaning on adversarial, those like Mexicans or those Americans, and we have to build our narrative around them. Like the Americans are in worse shape than we are. We've talked about it. They're a mess, right? So it's kind of punching down is not what Canada does well. So if we can punch up, get a little CONCACAF,
I see what so
you know what I'm saying?
The US isn't good enough to target. It's not fair.
It's almost.
Yeah, they're in the quarterfinals. Watch out.
There.
If you're Curaçao, and with all those decisions that went against them during that match, how do you think they're feeling?
Like you and Jimmy did playing in CONCACAF.
When Jack Warner was the man, right?
Yep.
they're probably thinking, oh, well, the referee was a little bit biased toward Canada and blah, blah, blah.
Probably you're right there,
Mm-hmm.
We complain about the big games that Canada was screwed over in the past, but you're a Curacao. Will CONCACAF rather have Canada in the quarterfinals or Curacao? I think I know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
honestly, I don't think they really care. CONCACAF's in a pretty decent spot. I mean, obviously for audience and whatnot.
Yeah, they've come a long way. I think, Craig, yeah, we can complain about certain things, and we are. But let's not compare CONCACAF now to the CONCACAF of 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Entirely. Yeah. The one of 15 years ago isn't getting the World Cup, for example. That's for sure. Unless he bought it. Well, maybe they would, actually. If they had more money. If Jackie Boy had more money, he probably could have paid Sepp and got a World Cup in CONCACAF, probably. But it didn't happen. The monies weren't that flowing at that point.
Once again, we need one of those documentary recreations. We don't know if it's true. We just work through it.
Yes. A little poetic license.
Yes. Jack Warner and Sepp Blatter. We're like, who plays whom?
Oh, who would play? You know what? If James Gandolfini was alive still, he would play Sepp.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They have to shrink him. Maybe Danny DeVito could play Sepp. It's more like it, maybe. Sepp was short. Who plays Jack Warner? Wait, Denzel. He can do anything.
Denzel?
Yeah. He can do anything, right?
He's a light-skinned black guy, though. I remember Jack Warner. He's a light-skinned black guy. So,
sure. Okay. Well, any other suggestions?
Wasn't he? No,
Jack wasn't. No,
Jack wasn't. No.
So
I'm not going there.
Okay, you want to move on?
Let's move on.
We played Looky Likey yesterday.
We did.
I don't know what the difference
So
is.
Will Smith, then? Shout for Will Smith to play Jack Warner.
He could. He's multi-talented
He's
and weird.
Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
He's great at Muhammad Ali, actually.
He was.
All right. El Salvador tonight. By the way, rumors making the rounds, a couple of reports that John David is heading to Juventus. Again, listen, nothing's confirmed. It's just, listen, I as disappointed as I am, if that's the case, what a great move for him. It's Juventus, one of the great sporting clubs in the world, in a league that I think is beginning to turn the corner a little bit after a couple of a few rough years. Jimmy, John David wearing the Bianco and Neri stripes. I can see it, can't you?
I can see it. Yeah, it is. It's a great club, lots of history. Look, if you're going to go to Italy, that's probably the top club that you'd want to go to, really, isn't it? Juve, one of the best. Some might say Inter, some might say AC Milan, Roma. But for me, Juve, it's a massive club, and for him to put on that jersey and play for that club, yeah, I think it'd be great for him. I really do. I think Saturday would suit him as well. I was always skeptical at first, thinking, how would he fare in the Premier League? Or I know he wanted to go to La Liga because that's the league that he supported and he's a fan of. But Serie A, for me, Juve, yeah, I think that'd be a great fit for him.
Yeah, it's a good move. I'm looking at if the wages they're talking about are true, and there's a holdup because of agents' fees.
Mm-hmm.
The agent shouldn't take a fee. I don't think he's getting paid enough.
I said that to you. I thought he was going to be in the 20 to
really.
25.
You'd have to go to the Premier League for that.
Yeah,
I know, but that's my point. Where is Fonzie right now? He's at 29-30 at Bayern, right?
Mm-hmm. Or there's individual clubs in Germany, couple clubs in Spain, couple clubs, PSG, blah blah blah.
And that's why I thought he was going to command that, because there aren't. If you just look at his numbers, he is such a prolific goal scorer over the last 4 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Really, where it's stands above and competes with the best of the best. Period. Right, John David's, and I know it's Liga and all that kind of stuff, but I thought he would command more, unless people are playing.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's Ligue 1. It's a really good league. It's Lille. It's a really good club. It's not a super club. He hasn't proven it on the. He has in the Champions League scored against some of the biggest clubs in the world. He'll be just fine. Don't get me wrong, but I think we need to take a bit of a breath here with John David and say, yeah, I think he's going to be a superstar, but he's not quite there yet. Most people in European football, like fans I'm talking about here, don't know anything about him outside of France. Right. Now that will change if he goes to Juventus. That's why he's going to Juventus, for that platform. But I think it's really easy to, elevate our favorites, our heroes as Canadians, to being things that they're not quite yet. They might well be, but let's give him a chance to show us what he can be, because right now he's on the pathway. I think he's not at the peak just yet. Dubs, do you agree or disagree?
I agree. I think that there's some pressure to perform in a different league and to be as prolific in a different league. And I think there are people who don't know Jonathan David and what he can do, because I think he has been isolated to a certain extent at Lille and in Ligue 1. And I think Ligue 1 suffers from what MLS suffers from, I think, in the landscape of world football, where if you are a prolific scorer at Lille or anywhere else, maybe aside from the big guns like a PSG, you're not given like a pass to say like, okay, you're proven. I think there's still some work that he has to do there. And I think that's a little bit unfair, but I think there's part of it too, where he's going to be eager to fit in there and to not miss a beat and to continue that prolific goal scoring in Serie A. But I think he's well set up for success there at a well-known club, a world-renowned club like Juve, where a lot more people are going to be paying attention and can, he's tactically so astute and so intelligent, and obviously has the physical capabilities to do it. So looking forward to seeing if Juve is the landing spot. I think he's well set up to have success there.
Yeah, and you think with the money that's on the table, that's what, 5-6 times his wages now, right? Which is an incredible increase of what he's making.
Sure, yeah.
I wonder if he had any dabbles from MLS as far as a designated player goes, because Insigne playing in Italy for Napoli, and he's come over and he's making substantially more money than he was in Italy. I just don't know if he's the draw, being a Canadian in MLS, that they would be looking for to sell jerseys and all that sort of thing. It might be the holdback for that. Plus his ambition to still be successful in Europe and try apply his trade in a top league.
If anyone's listening, or watching, Sharms is trying to do some video roll in to
I'm actually what I'm doing, just to explain myself, I'm preparing for our mini pod on the Club World Cup, which you can stream live on DAZN for free, right, by the way, but because I did it before, but then for some reason Neil disappeared, so I'm doing it now to get ahead of the game. But the way my screen is set up, I can't quite access the right panel to make it more smooth. I don't know why that is, but I'm trying to do 1,000 things at once here. It's very unprofessional. I'm sorry. Can
I just say, I don't know if it's likely FIFA or whoever is coming up with those sound effects that are at the top of those highlights. Mm-hmm. I would like that to play as like when I come on the pod, or like right before I'm about to say something, to provide that gravitas. Maybe?
I would like that sound when I'm going to take a pee test.
But Forrest, I just wanted to add to what you're saying about Jonathan David, and curious, whether there were any MLS suitors for him to become a DP. Like maybe the payday would have been bigger for him. But I think as much as I want MLS to take the rightful place where they're getting more respect, I think in world football, and I think deserved respect, I would have been disappointed to see Jonathan David go to MLS. I would have seen it as maybe not the right move for him in terms of the ascending path that he's on in world football. And I think a club like Juve and where it fits is a really good landing spot for him.
I would agree with you that. Yeah.
Would you prefer MLS or the Saudi Premier League, where there was reportedly some interest?
MLS.
Mm-hmm.
Dung.
They're getting 50 million.
Oh shit!
Stop it.
Hey, although it's once again a good segue for us to remind everyone: log on, sign up to DAZN, right, Sharms? Because what do you get?
You do that.
I mean, you get
you get free streaming every match, free throughout the entire tournament, and the games are becoming they're intense to say the very least. Last night was brilliant, by the way.
Brilliant.
If you're in front of a TV or your computer or your phone, we can also stream the games for free on DAZN.
How do you spell it?
That would be DAZN.
Oh, gotcha.
DAZN.com. Free, really easy. But yeah, that was a fun night to watch football last night, and we'll get into it. Go ahead.
I shared one of the a really great tweet. Sorry, Sharms, if I cut you off, from Max Bredos, who's been on our show a couple times, and it's of a River Plate fan, and it says, "This dude tried to sell his car to come see River Plate at Club World Cup with his son. Couldn't get asking price, so he burnt it to get the 10K insurance money. He's expecting a divorce when he returns to Argentina and maybe some jail time."
Do you believe that? I think that's bullshit.
It is, but it's commitment for either way on the comedy line or just sticking with a lie, right? Like if that's your lie and you stick with it, fantastic. Still pretty funny.
Did I hear? See, again, the way my timelines are set up, I can't see a little bloop. Is Sarah here?
I don't see her.
No,
not okay.
No,
hey guys, it's me, Sarah. How are you?
That bloop was me.
Changed.
Excuse me.
Madrid hasn't been good to you, Sarah.
Yeah.
Sarah Ferrari.
He's seeing the Sunshine Band.
God, unhinged today.
Yeah, a little bit unhinged. There's Miami. Okay, I'm still editing this shit as we go here.
God,
we should probably just stop this show right now because we've got Sarah coming up very shortly for the next podcast. But tonight, El Salvador, Canada. Join us tomorrow. We'll break down what happens. Jimmy, you're at TSN tonight on the panel.
Yes, I am. Yep.
All right. Do you want to give us a reason why we should tune in?
I can't give you a reason. It would be a very good show. It should be a good game. But...
Your beige suit. That's a
reason.
What,
are you going beige again?
What suit are you wearing? Yeah.
No, I think I'm going to go a purple.
Really?
I like that.
Bold.
Wow.
Yeah.
Barney.
Yeah.
Joker.
Right. Well, listen, make sure you watch that just to watch Jimmy in the purple suit. But this has been Footy Prime for another edition. Jesse Marsch. Free the Marsh. Hashtag free the Marsh.
Free the Marsh.
He's out of Concacaf prison for the time being.
Until next time, Jesse.
Yeah. All right. We'll chat to you tomorrow. Bye.